I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 289. Janine, good to see you back. I can't believe you made it back.
I know.
I mean, we had a great show last week, and I got to tell you, the comments I've been getting from those people, here, let me back up. 6,000 people have watched last week's episode already.
Mm-hmm.
About a little over 3,000 and some on Facebook, a little over 3,000 downloads in the podcast app. So about 6,000 people, and a handful of them wrote into me and said, Janine's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Wasn't a surprise to me. It was, we talked about it a little bit at home. It wasn't like it was a surprise because I know you're awesome, but I wasn't sure how this was going to work out between having my wife in the studio with me. But you've been with me from day one of this journey, right? You've been with me since, 29 years are we on?
Almost.
So you've been with me for, so it just makes sense to have you here. So welcome back. I'm glad you made it back.
Much nicer studio than the one in our house.
Yeah, you like this a little better, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So give me some thoughts. What did you think after the end of the show last week? What's your takeaway?
I think my biggest takeaway is just being able to be a part of it live. I get to see another dynamic of it, get to see the chatter going on kind of behind the scenes, and it's just amazing. I mean, everybody already today, Tiffany mentioned that she's a little nervous about her email being read and sharing, her very personal journey, and everybody's like, we've got you. It's going to be great. You're among friends.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Just love it.
That's exactly. Yep. So we're live on Facebook. For those of you who are listening in the podcast app or you're watching a replay, every Wednesday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern, we're live on Facebook. I get a lot of comments, too, that people say, well, I don't have Facebook, and that's fine. You do not need a Facebook account. I tested this. I went to a private browser window, and I didn't log into Facebook, and I was able to watch the replay at least. I'm assuming you can also watch the live, but you certainly can catch the replay. So if you're listening in the podcast app and you want to watch the video, two places to do it, Facebook for sure, and then about sometime tomorrow afternoon, I get the episode back from Jacob, and then I put it into YouTube. So you can catch it on youtube.com/c/FatDag. Just search for FatDag on YouTube and you'll find it. But you can watch the video there. But you do not need a Facebook account to do it. Really, really cool news this week. Probably the most exciting thing that happened this week is I've been working, you guys know, the nonprofit that I founded, Operation FatDag. It's a 501c3. The IRS has recognized us. Charity Navigator calls us, GuideStar calls us a gold-rated charity, which is a really big deal. We have the gold seal of transparency. The Operation FatDag board, which is members of the Connect community, have come together to make sure that this is just an amazing thing. So part of that effort was I went to New York and met with WW, and I said, hey, I'm a military member, and many people may not know this, but the obesity numbers in the military are starting to mirror the obesity numbers in the United States. So I said, military members need some help. As you know, that's my story. And if you now look, WW has released a military landing page. If you scroll down a little bit, you get to see a picture of me. Yay. That's not the important piece. The important piece now is WW has recognized that members of our military have the same struggles as you and I do. So we're getting rid of the stigma of, most people make the assumption if you're in the military, you're fit, you're healthy, you're lean. And certainly there are plenty of them, but there's also plenty who struggle just as well. So WW has released that. I will put a link in the show notes. I don't know the exact URL off the top of my head at the moment, but the link will be in the show notes. You can go ahead and click on that and go right to that page. So big deal. What do you think, Janine? Wasn't that kind of cool when you saw that?
Very cool. Very cool.
So
Long time coming.
Yeah, totally is. And so that's the first step. And so you can go to operationfatdag.org and you can make a donation, or if you're actively serving in the military currently, apply. And what we do is we want to cover the cost of whatever program you want to use to get yourself back in shape, back into a fighting weight, to get back in the fight. So certainly go ahead, and operationfatdag.org is the place for that. So For me, upcoming this tomorrow night in Plainfield, 5:30 p.m. studio workshop. Sunday, I'm at 7 p.m. On Tuesdays, 6 p.m. in Carmel, and then Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. in Carmel. So if you're in the Indianapolis area ever, definitely stop into a WW workshop. And we put a link on WhysAdvice.com, and then it's also on FatDag.com/WhysAdvice. I put a link for in-studio tickets. If you come to Indianapolis and you want to watch us record this show, I put a link where about a dozen of you or so, but they're first come, first serve because the room is it's nice and it's big. It's not that big, and we don't want to have a big party here. But if you want to do a meet and greet, you want to come hang out with us a little bit before the show, a little bit after the show, go to FatDag.com or WhysAdvice.com. Click on Get Your Tickets and join us here for a live show. So that's kind of the update. Did I miss anything in the update?
I don't think so. Angie noticed that she could see your ring on screen today. That's kind of been a lot of the chatter today.
Yeah, so I put a post on Connect a little earlier, and so for about a month ago, this ring really started to hurt, and so I took it off, and then I finally recommitted to my journey. Like, okay, I need to start tracking. I need to just really get back into it, and so the scale is moving in the right direction. So I put it on this morning. Like, yes, finally, we're back into it. So. We're here in downtown Indianapolis in the beautiful Edge Media Studios, and I want to share a little clip with you and talk to you about it because I tell you, they are a tremendous reason why we've upgraded everything here. They recognize the journey, they see the potential, the value, and they put a lot of skin in the game to bring it here. So, Jacob, roll the clip and let's walk through it. How cool is that? So as this video clip goes, Jacob, you and I, we talk all the time about how awesome this place is, but how long you been here? And give me an idea of what Edge Media Studios does.
Yeah, so I've been here since about April and running the studio here, doing some other stuff, doing podcast production, live streaming production, everything else. This studio was built for a live streaming internet TV station. So the podcast listeners listening right now, they're getting great audio experience, but they go back and check the video. They're seeing some shots of the room right now, and they can see, the size of the desk here. We get up to six people around this desk pretty easily. When we cut back later to that screen behind you, in the studio, it's actually a green screen. So that's a fun thing to play with. We can change the graphics on there. I can bring in remote guests, all kinds of really cool stuff that we can do there. So I love it. It's been a lot of fun, and it's a
and
great
the whole intent is you want podcasters to come here and do their studio just like I did.
Exactly.
Right? And then you can take it remote.
Yeah. We packed it up last Friday actually, and went out and did remote for somebody.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for having us. Thanks for supporting the Wise Advice podcast. You're an amazing asset. It's just so much easier for me not to have to touch any buttons. So thank you.
And I've got that on recording now, so I'm going to save that forever.
You'll hear that again. Hey, this first email for the show comes in out of St. Paul, Minnesota. Sandy writes in. She says, "Dear FatDag, hey, I really enjoy your podcast. They're always motivating. My story is quite simple. I've joined WW so many times over the years, I've actually lost count. When my now 23-year-old son was 2, I lost 65 pounds and reached goal on the old plan where you got so many exchanges of each food group per day. I slowly put the weight back on over the next 5 years. Since then, I've gained and lost the same 20 or 30 pounds many times. I would get in a groove, have success, and then a crisis would occur. Big medical things with my kids, job losses of my husband twice in a year, medical things with both my parents, all scary things. Instead of eating on plan and therefore controlling that in a situation where I couldn't control anything else, I'd always put myself second or third or fifth and go off course. We moved into a new house late August. In mid-September, I made the decision to rejoin WW. I decided a different mental approach was in order. How could this time be different? What if I went to a meeting every single week through the end of the year? What if I didn't weigh myself at home at all? What if I tracked 7 days a week? In the past, I would get in my own way on this journey. I would get angry, frustrated, upset if the scale at my meeting didn't show me the loss that I felt I had earned, or if I weighed in at home expecting a loss and didn't see it on the WW scale. I would play the game of I've lost X number of pounds in X number of weeks, and I would just get frustrated at the pace of my weight loss. So now I'm 9 weeks in. I've lost just under 15 pounds. I've lost weight every single week. I've noticed a pattern with my weight loss too. I will lose 2 or 3 pounds and then I'll lose 0.8, 0.6, 0.2 for the next 2 weeks. I only weigh myself at my weekly meeting, period. I'm not fixating on the number or the rate of weight loss. I'm just taking it one day, 1 week at a time, and I plan on continue losing weight throughout the holiday season. Holiday parties typically fall on the weekends, leaving 5 days for tracking and saving some points up. By increasing my activity, I should come out of the holidays just fine. I have 64 more pounds to lose to hit my first big goal. After that, I will reevaluate. It'll take as long as it'll take. I'm truly trying to enjoy the journey. I'm 54 years old, and of course, weight loss is different now, slower, than in my 30s or 40s. Thanks for all you do to serve the WW community. I admire your transparency, your willingness to share your struggle, and I bet the meetings you lead are fantastic. If my story resonates with just one person ready to give up and quit, then that would be worth it. Gratefully, Sandy. Sandy, thank you so much for your note. You know, one of the things that I always harp on is kind of how you ended your email is we don't know what other people are thinking. Like, this journey is not so unique that so many of us are, it's completely foreign. What happens is we kind of need snippets of other people's journey to walk through, but we believe that we're all alone. And so when we see somebody else write an email in and there's pieces of it that make sense, we go, and we latch onto it and we go, okay, if that person can do it, well, then I can do it. And so I really encourage you and thank you and say thank you for writing in and thank you for sharing your story. That's not easy. I get that. But what the cool thing is when you do that, 2 things happen. When you take the time to write down your email, the first thing it does is it kind of clears your mind, clears your head out, and gets you kind of a little bit refocused. Whether you send the email to me or not, that happens. Then if you send it, and you kind of, in this case, you send it in before the holidays, and here we are in March, so it's a few months later, wherever you are in the journey, this now is acting as a re-motivation to kind of get you back in the game or even an assurance that you stayed true to your plan and got you where. So there's kind of 2 things happen there. But I want to go all the way back to the beginning, and you say you've joined over and over and over so many times that you've actually lost count. I've always said, if you are a WW member or you're committing to a weight loss journey or a health journey or whatever you're trying to do, and you start and stop and you go through different iterations, I'm always grateful when you recommit. I don't ever use the word restart. I don't ever use the word, starting over. I'm saying that you're recommitting because you can never start over, because once you start the first time ever, everything after that, you have knowledge that you bring forward that doesn't make it a complete restart. So I say you're going to, recommit or re-get back in the game, but it's not exactly a restart over. So, and then more importantly is when you do that, you're coming back to a plan that works. It had worked for you previously, or else you wouldn't come back to it. And so here you are, your son's 23 years old now, but you're 65 pounds you lost. You reached goal. You can do all of that again. And so in that middle paragraph that you wrote in, you're talking about medical problems with the kids, job losses, all of that stuff is life. Life sometimes comes at us 1,000,000 miles an hour. And one of the things we have to work on is the definition and the difference between habits and willpower. And what I mean by that is as we walk this journey, when we first start, we use all the willpower we can to kind of force ourselves and beat ourselves into submission to kind of work this program. And so that's good and well to an extent, but at some point that willpower just fades, or life comes at you 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then instantly you go back into survival mode. And when you go back into survival mode, you go back to your habits, because the less you can think about, the easier your life's going to be. So as all this stress comes at you and you say, okay, now I just want something to be normal. What's normal for you are the habits that you established previously. So as we go through this journey, the true goal is to make sure that your auto response and that your habits are aligned with keeping you healthy and active for the rest of your life. That's truly what we're after. If we could rename this program, it'd be a long title, but that's what I would call it, is we're looking at a way to make our lifestyle our new life and make a new life out of it, where our habits now, our auto responses and our habits drive us right to a healthy journey. So you really kind of want to make sure that however you react, it reacts victoriously. And so that takes a lot of work in getting those habits dialed in. And so all the stuff you threw at us, and playing the games and saying, I want to lose this many pounds by this amount a week, very rarely is that a recipe for success. That strictly relies on your willpower. You've done this. You've done it before. Now it's a matter of saying, okay, I want to get in and I want to completely change my life. That's the goal this time, right? The goal is to really say, okay, what can I do differently this time? And you walk through that. How can it be different? What if I went to a meeting every week? What if I didn't weigh myself at home? What if I tracked for 7 days a week? All those scenarios will help you redefine what habits are going to stick for you long term. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to walk this journey with you. I love what you said. Thanks for all you do to serve the WW community, admiring the transparency and willingness to share the struggles. And because here's what's interesting about that is we go through this is all of us who are having the same challenges. And so my goal here I'm not here to show you how to be perfect at this. I ask every single person I've ever met in a workshop, when I give them a lifetime charm or a goal charm or a significant weight loss charm, I say, were you 100% perfect from the day you joined to the day right now that I'm giving you this charm? Never has anyone honestly answered, yeah, I was 100% perfect. So I'm not here to teach you how to do this perfectly, because I don't think there's a perfect way to do it. What I'm here to teach you, what I'm here to show you, and the reason I think I've been tapped to be here is to show you what not quitting looks like. I'm showing you what not giving up looks like. I'm showing you that finding every single opportunity you can find to continue to make this a priority and stay committed to this program. That's what I'm here to show you what it looks like. And so that's one of my favorite things right now as we go through this whole iteration. One of my favorite things is I haven't had to to do the walk and say, hey, I'm back. I haven't had to make a I'm back post. I've been here the entire time. It hasn't been pretty, but it's certainly been wonderful for a lot of different ways with a bunch of different goals in mind. So last I want to leave you with is backing to the habit world. What we do most defines us. So think about the things you do most often, and that's how you're going to end up. So I want you to kind of use that as the framework to kind of remotivate yourself, re-energize yourself, and carry yourself to goals. So that's what I got. Janine, what did you pick up out of that?
The first thing I just wanted to say is one of the things that really stuck out to me in her email was when she said that she always puts herself second, third, fifth, and goes off course. I think that's like the mom mantra. That's what we do. We don't put ourselves first. We take care of the kids. We take care of our spouse. We take care of the house and all the millions of other things that needs to happen. And I think it's important to take the time out and take care of yourself, because you're just making it better for everyone around you. Your family benefits from it. You benefit from it. Your children benefit from it, all because you're taking care of yourself. She even said that she's trying really hard to enjoy the journey, which I think is so important, because you've heard me say a million times, no matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. Even if it's not your 100% best day, an 80% day is much better than not trying at all.
I saw a graphic the other day in a private group that I'm in with a couple of really close friends, and it said being a mom is like jumping out of an airplane with 5 kids, and no one has a parachute, and you're flying around trying to make sure everyone's parachute's working, and then yours doesn't work, and you hit the ground splat, but except you don't die, you get up and you're expected to make dinner. Right. That's what being a mom Pretty is much. Like. So they great pull out of that.
Yeah, Lee had a great thing to say, which, similar to what I've heard you say before, that if you can remove 20 to 30 pounds once, you can do it again. You have the skills, you have the habits, you know what to do, and you can easily do it again. And Donna said she's recommitted.
Recommitted.
Right. Takes a few times, but she's there.
And that's where the celebration is. The victory and truly is in you saying that I'm doing this. And so everything that happens after that is just complete success. So anything else?
That's all I had.
All right. So real quick while I got you here, I really do. I looked at my YouTube numbers the other day, and we're 1.99 thousand subscribers. And let's go ahead and beat that up. Go to youtube.com/C/FatDag. Look for me on YouTube. Do me a favor, like it, comment, share out there. One of the things I've asked Edge Media Studios to do is hey, can we stream this live to YouTube at the same time? And right now the audience isn't over there. The audience is on Facebook, so it makes more sense to push this live to Facebook. But as those numbers start climbing, we'll start making the adjustment to say, hey, let's stream it both. Let's stream it over on YouTube. We'll start making those decisions. So get over there and do that. And of course, by all means, like I said at the beginning of the show, about 6,000 folks have watched this video in the first week that we released, which is absolutely incredible. True testament to you getting out there, commenting, and sharing. Continue to please do that. Share them in all your social media channels, every single place you can. Let others know that this is, we're here every Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. And it's just such an honor to be here and do that. So Out of Phoenix, Arizona, the next email comes in from Kathy. She says, "Hello, FatDag. I just wanted to say thank you so much for this tool of your show to help me on my weight loss journey. I started on this journey, again, probably for the 10th time throughout the last 30 years on my quest to lose weight. I started because my son encouraged me to go back and do something for myself that will help me and give me the tools to feel successful. He said he remembered a time when I was doing WW and how motivated I was and inspirational. He had attended a meeting with me when he was a teenager, and he just decided to join as well. He was very successful and has been able to keep his weight off to this day, about 16 years now. So on March 22nd, 2019, I joined. I am now down 26.6 pounds. I'm about halfway to my goal. However, it always seems like when I get to this point that I start to get comfortable with the compliments and I feel like I don't need to go on. When I look in the mirror, I say, I look pretty good right now. I've noticed I started to use my weekly points now, which is causing me to maintain instead of lose. I just can't seem to get unstuck and keep going. Any suggestions on how to get over this barrier? Sincerely, Kathy." Kathy, a couple of quick things. Thanks all for all that you've done. How cool is it that when you first joined, your son thought you were motivational and inspirational? That's not how that typical parent-to-child relationship kind of works, right? And so that is awesome that he did. Hashtag be the prize for sure. That's my favorite hashtag, right? We can't tell someone to lose weight. We can't ask them to. We can't nudge them to. We sure as heck can't shame them into it. Today that we're recording this, it's hashtag World Obesity Day, but you can't shame someone into wanting to do this. The only thing you can do is show them how awesome it is when you get the results that you're looking for. You did that. Your son followed your lead, and now he's living his best life. You have completely saved him by all the work and effort that you did, and you should be incredibly proud of doing that. Welcome back to your quest, right? Welcome back to recommitting, like we just talked about in the first segment of the show, is that you've recommitted to saying this is now a priority in your life, right? We have multiple priorities that we're juggling. This is now one that has now creeped back into your world. It's like, okay, I want to make this a priority for whatever reason. I want you to focus in on why you're here. I want you to focus in on what's going to be different this time, like we just talked about. But 26.6 pounds is you. You can't do that accidentally. And it's all hard work, and you've gotten it. And so now what happens is just like you said, you start to feel better, you start to look better, and go all the way back if you have the app. Go to episode 72 of the podcast here. We talk about complacency. Complacency is one of those things where you now have to go from your current self to a new self, and it's a little bit scary. Making that transition and pushing through the barriers where you really are completely changing your life is where many of us we get a little uncomfortable and we say, okay, you know what? I like the life I used to have, but this fear of the unknown traps us and scares us and in some ways prevents us from going forward. I want you to know that on the other side of that is just complete freedom. You can script your life however you want from this point forward, but you've got to take that leap and do it. When you talk about eating your weeklies, I want to share something with you that I think is important because eating your weekly points, and for those of you not following the WW plan, what happens is you get a daily set of numbers and you get a weekly set of numbers that act as kind of like a some people call them bonus points, some people call them overdraft, and it's just part of the program. It's not an extra anything. It's here's how many points we want you to eat, and then to have some flexibility, here's a weekly range that we want you to stay in after. And a lot of folks do when they start, they kind of put those weekly points on the back burner and say, I'm not going to touch them. Maybe when I get to goal I will, or maybe I never will. But the true reality is they're there to be used. But the thing we got to think about is how accurately are we tracking in the first place? So the example I always use, you guys, a lot of people make fun of me because I say track your ketchup, right? Hashtag track your ketchup, look for it and connect. You'll see it in there. But if you are, as an example, if you're getting up in the morning, you're having coffee and you're having some coffee creamer and you're not tracking the creamer, and then you're having something later on, you have ketchup and you're not tracking the ketchup because it's only a couple points. Well, then you had 2 points of coffee creamer, you had 2 to 4 points worth of ketchup. So now you've actually used your weekly points, you're just not accounting for them. So then as you start getting closer to goal, when you say, I want to start using my weeklies, if there are things that you were doing daily that you weren't accounting for, and then you add additional points to it, then all of a sudden, boom, now you're over, and then you turn into that weight loss mode or the weight maintenance mode versus the weight loss mode. So The more accurate that you track, including weighing and measuring and tracking everything you eat, the more of your weekly points you can eat and still have success on the program. If that makes complete sense. If for some reason, you're really loose on track and you're guesstimating a lot, then you're already eating your weekly points. You're just not being accountable to them. So then when you think that you can go eat them, you're overdoing it to some extent. So, Kathy, the biggest thing I want to leave you with is that you totally can do this, right? And you've done it before. Your son said he's inspired by you. That's the coolest thing. And so you've proven to yourself you can do it. You've proven to the world you can do it. And now it's just time to recommit back into it and say, I'm going to do it this time. So what did I miss, Janine?
Just love that Kathy's son is her wingman. How great to have that support right there, day in, day out. And it's wonderful to see our children giving back that love and support that we give for so many years. I know she said that she seems like she can't get unstuck. She doesn't know what to do other than to keep going. And I think an important thing for you to remember is that every day you just need to get in the habit of asking yourself, is what I'm doing supporting the life I'm trying to create? Similar to what you say as well, but each meal, each activity, each thing you're doing, is this something that is going to get me to where I want to be? Even if it's just for today. What's my goal for today? Where do I want to be today? Is what I'm doing right now helping me to get there? And sometimes it's a matter of changing daily habits, because once it becomes a habit and a routine, you're not thinking about it anymore. And then it's less pressure. It's less to worry about day in and day out. We have a lot of wingmen on here saying, 3-time loser here, but I'm staying. I'm going to keep going. And Dee said quitting is not in her vocabulary, and a lot of people chimed in and said the same thing.
Exactly.
If you're here and you're present and you're plugging away each day, even if it's not perfect, you have not lost, you have not quit, and you're doing the right thing to get to where you want to be.
Yep. Yeah, you reminded me of the thing that I like to say, there's no such thing as good food or bad food. There is food that is aligned with your goal, and there is food that is not aligned with your goal. It's that simple. And so you've got to take the actions, and you got to set a goal first of all, set a plan afterwards, and do things that execute the plan. It's I hate to say it's that simple, because it's certainly not that simple. Life comes at us a million miles an hour. What it really is we have competing priorities, and now we're trying to juggle it all. But the thing is start thinking in that mindset of, is what I'm doing today moving me closer to my goal or moving me further away? So. Anything else?
And I think the big thing is when life does come at you 100 miles an hour, to take care of yourself in that moment. You're going to have hard days. We've been through a lot of things in the last year that were hard. And rather than beating yourself up for what you did that day, start over again the next day. Don't let one bad day destroy the journey and end the journey for you. You've got to keep going the next day and do the best you can.
Yep. You don't even need to wait till you go to bed. You can start over right now.
Right.
So a big shout out to the folks in the Patreon community. Those of you who know that when I first started this journey, I felt like I was all alone, and I kept seeing signs of support here and there, but I never felt like someone completely understood the unique challenges that I saw that were in front of me. And so it wasn't long into the journey where I asked and I reached out and said, I need a wingman. And I found a wingman. And the community of wingmen, they're so awesome to support each other. And we just really stick together. But, the internet is a really big place, and at times feels lonely as well. So I built private communities. There's a Wise Wingman Facebook group that's free to join. It's a private group or a closed group, so you can kind of get in there. But it's a little smaller and personal, but sometimes we need a little bit more than that. And so inside the Patreon community, we get together once a week for a chat. We just check in with each other, and we keep each other accountable. We motivate, we inspire, and we just keep it going. And all of that financial support is helping keeping this show on the air, keeping it in this beautiful studio. So if you're feeling lost and you're looking for a smaller community to be a part of, just go to patreon.com, patreon.com/FatDag, and sign up today. You can also go to fatdag.com, click on the Become a Patron, and join us in that community as well. So thank you, all the wingmen, for your support on that as we roll forward. The third email from this show comes in out of Anonymous. It says, good afternoon. So back in May of 2018, I weighed 305 pounds. By May of 2019, I had lost 124 pounds. I loved going to the gym. I loved any exercise. Well, come June, it stopped. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped doing 5Ks. I stopped losing weight. I stopped Facebook groups. I've now gained 15 pounds back, something I said it would never happen. I feel like such a failure. I just can't seem to get my head back into it. I come up with all these reasons to eat the crap. I'm sure you've heard them all, so I won't go into them, but The only positive thing I've done is joined another gym and start with a trainer tonight. I've been going twice a week to Zumba and Pound. My grandson even called me fat the other day. What can I do to get back into it? Can you wave the magic wand? I'm sure there really isn't anything that anyone can do but me, but I'm frustrated with me. Thank you for letting me vent. Have a great day, Anonymous. Well, Anonymous, so boom, I wish I could wave a magic wand. And so one of my favorite Oprah quotes is something along the lines, I'm going to misquote it, so Oprah, if you're listening, I apologize. But one of my favorite Oprah quotes is something along the lines of Oprah says, if there was a magic wand, if there was a magic pill, if there was a magic potion, don't you think I'd have it? Right? This is Oprah. She can do whatever she wants. So it's not that easy to just go boom and go buy it. You have to put in the hard work, and there's so much competing at us to do it. So what I want you to do is ditch the frustration. The frustration is never going to push you closer to the goal. What it's going to do is keep building up that energy and that anger that pushes you further away from your goal and allows you to start more easily justify decisions that aren't aligned with your goal. So I want you to kind of get rid of that notion and know that when you say there's really nothing anyone can do but you, that's true to an extent, but it's also not true. And what I mean by that is if you look at this community that we built in the Wise Women Facebook group, you look in Connect, you look anywhere where there's motivation, inspiration, and you're really the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most often. If you're hanging around with people who are positive, full of energy, who are sharing, and are really killing it and doing a great job, then you're more motivated to follow in that footstep. So when it comes to support in this journey, what I want you to do is I want you to find a group of people who are just like you, who are close to what you're doing, who are accomplishing it, and who are chasing their goals and finding the success that you're looking for, and that's going to kind of carry you through. So it's true that they can't do it for you, but really you can watch them do it, and then they become the prize as you go, yeah, I want to do this as well. So as you go through this as well, don't lose track of the fact that you've lost 124 pounds. I mean, significant. It is absolutely impossible to do that accidentally. So give yourself a huge pat on the back, a 15-pound regain at this point. I mean, it's a blip on the radar. It's just a matter of you saying, okay, the pendulum swinging in the direction that maybe you're not comfortable with, but you have the tools and the resources to completely make a change. I want you to think about right now what it would look like to have 124 pounds back. And so you're not anywhere near that. You're a completely different person, and I want you to to celebrate that. When you said you love going to the gym, you loved exercise, and you stopped doing all that, find the joy in that again. It may be that when you were doing it, maybe you didn't love it to some extent, maybe you tolerated it. So find the part of the activity that you love the most, and then bring that back in slowly. Think about, in essence, where when we talk about, I use this analogy often, talk about marathon runners. If there was a person out there who ran a marathon, and the very first day they trained and they let up, they built up their mileage, and all of a sudden they started running marathons. If they now took a year off, their next run is not likely going to be 26.2 miles. They're going to have to regroup and go back to a 2 or 3 mile run to go, okay, let me build up the stamina again. So many times as we start this journey and we start having success, and in your case, down 124 pounds, and then something happens and you kind of lose a little bit of focus, mentally, you want to pick up exactly where you left off. You want to go back out and run 26.2 miles. But the problem is that there's some things that happen in your life that make you now say, I need to regress a little bit, go back to honestly tracking, go back to weighing and measuring, go back to the simplest form of the exercise that you started with, and build back up to the point where you find the joy and you find the love again. I love one thing that I loved in your note that came in when you said, I have now gained 15 back, something I said I never would happen. If you go back and listen to this episode, we're at 289 episodes into this thing. If you go back and listen to every single episode I did, I'm positive I said those exact same words. Right? I probably even said, take me out back and let me know when I'm done, right? But the reality is life is going to happen. The fact that you're staying in the game is truly where you want to kind of be. You want to stick your head in the game and say, I'm here every morning, I'm waking up, I'm committed, and I'm going into this thing with all of my energy. Last, before we check out to see what Janine's got, it says, I'm sure you've heard them all, so I won't go into the excuses. And so, yeah, I've heard them all and I've lived them all as well. And I think that's what's awesome about our community is there's very little that we can say as a group that somebody else doesn't say, hey, that's my story too. Hey, I can relate to that. That makes sense to me. So you're amongst friends here, and we're getting it done and doing it every single day because you show up and get it done. So what do you got?
He or she, don't know who it was, the anonymous email was from, but just the thing that really stuck with me is when she said, really nothing anyone can do but me. And that is so true. You have to push yourself because no one else can do that for you. When you were on your journey, I would measure snacks and write the points on them. We would, kind of a funny story.
Don't give away all my secrets.
Yeah, kind of a funny story. He would text me after lunch and say, I ate this for breakfast and this for lunch. I have this many points left. That's what we have to have for dinner. And we had a list on our fridge of this is a 5-point dinner, this is a 6-point dinner, 7, 8, 9. And we didn't plan dinner until after he ate lunch so that we knew that you could stay within points. But the bottom line was he had to make the commitment to eat those things and follow through. There's only so much any wingman can do for you, be it someone in the community, a partner at home, whatever it is. And to the person who sent this email, the biggest thing I can say is just make it happen. Shock every single one of the people out there who said you couldn't do it. Shock them. Show them that you did it, and just continue to be strong. Like Lee said, everybody's going to hit goal on exactly the day that they're meant to hit goal. Yeah,
Melissa chimes in and says, but you are so worth the effort. And that is, boy, that is just, it could not be more true. So anything else? So that's, as we go through this process, it really takes a strong mind and that willpower that we talked about, but it really turns into building healthy habits. And it really, using the tools that are out there. And so it's important to find the tools that you like to use and use them often. And of course, if you've listened to the show, you've heard me talk about Withings before. Long ago, one of my first attempts at losing weight, I found a digital scale that actually syncs up with my smartphone. Before this, I actually had to write the numbers down on my bathroom mirror. I tell you about it all the time. I write them on the mirror. After a week later, Janine would go ahead and erase them. And so I never really was able to see the true history and the data to know that I was actually making progress every single week. And so it was really awesome when this technology came out, making our devices, everything was smarter. And I'm like, now the data from the scale, I just get on the scale, it goes right back into my phone automatically. It was a natural fit for me to embrace the smarter scale. The Withings Smart Scale, it sends the data directly to the phone. Like I said, it makes it so much easier to review the trend lines and get a much bigger, better picture of your progress. They also make smart watches that actually look like watches, but it discreetly tracks your steps. So it's truly one of my favorite companies. If you want to check them out, visit http://dag.fyi/Withings20. Enter DAG20 at the checkout. It'll save you 20% on your $99 purchase. You can go to FatDag.com as well. Click on the Withings logo. It'll take you there as well. The last email from this show comes in out of Santa Rosa, California. Tiffany, she joins us live on Facebook, says, hello, my T and my Met goals have been tested. This last Saturday, I was woken by a phone call saying, get up, pack up, fire headed our way, get going south. I rushed out of bed, waking up my mom and saying, we've got to go, as emergency alerts went off on both of our phones. My mom kept on telling me the house was safe, as my sister and my cell phone kept telling me to get the hell out. My mom didn't want to go, so I started freaking out, going, we're going to burn up. We need to go now. But my mom didn't want to, so we stayed. I sat on my patio in the wind, just staring and thinking, why didn't I just go with my sister last night? My mom said, come on in. I said, no, I need the space. And she slammed the door and she locked me out on the patio. I started pounding on my patio door as my neighbors evacuated it. It was 2 a.m. I came in and I was like, are you crazy? You locked me out. She said she didn't care though. My parents were not the greatest parents. They argued and they fought and sometimes they put hands on each other. My mom even slapped me on my 8th grade graduation night and my mother slapped me once too. I've had seizures most of all my life, along with behavioral issues that were not handled well in my childhood. I was also raped twice, and my mom and dad insist that they don't even know about it, and that's where the eating comes in. I would eat mac and cheese and candy and pizza and donuts and other treats and soda. I must have thought of suicide so many times that one time, just to get my parents to stop fighting, I cut my wrists open. They stopped then, but it landed me in a mental institution where I was raped again by an employee. No one believed me there either, so I just let it go. Last night I broke down and I sobbed. I feel like I'm empty. And as I've done before, I feel like never talking again. I can't do this anymore. I don't feel strong enough. I need help. I'm not going to quit the Wingmen because it's a safe place to let go, but most in this letter had never heard that been told before. I'm afraid this letter is not the letter of celebration. The fire this week, the evacuation, my mom here all week, I've had 2 seizures and emotional breakdowns. I'm trying to hold on, but it's becoming hard. I do have a therapist, Mike. I told you about that. He was evacuated as well. It's with tears in my eyes that I close this very hard to read email. I know you won't judge me. You're not like that. So I will leave this with you. I need support. And I know you and the Wingmen will support me, and I will not be judged. Tiffany goes on with an update and says, well, today the air is clear. My mom goes home tomorrow, and the stores will be open. I will begin to eat better and sleep better. I've tracked everything, even the 3 sodas I had this week. The positive note is that I tracked everything, even the bad. I went over my points, and I was not very nice at times, but I own that. I'm learning to take compliments and hugs from my family. This email bounces around. I see that, but there was a lot to talk about. You can't stop natural disasters, and it gives me more anxiety that I need. I'm trying to work on that. Tiffany. Tiffany, thank you so much for pouring your heart out, and you're absolutely right. This community is not one to judge. We've all got something going on, and so the beauty of this is that when you look at the community as a whole, is we get it. We're here for you. We're here to walk with you. We're here to support you. And, you and I, we have an opportunity to chat probably a little more than a lot of the other Wingmen do. So we're in the Discord chat pretty often. Every time I tweet, you're right there. And we have a great opportunity to go back and forth. And we've had a chance to speak on the phone, which I thought was truly amazing. So thank you for that. I recognize the challenges that you have and in this email. And I look at them and I say, it's amazing that you still are an incredible part of this community daily. Every single day you're showing up for yourself, you're putting yourself as a priority, and you're an incredible fighter. That's what you need to hang your hat on. And so all these other things that go on, you need to know that when push comes to shove, you are taking responsibility for yourself and you're fighting for what you need to do. When it comes to this journey, though, I don't know that the goal truly is in all cases to get to this magic number on the scale. I think the goal in many of our cases just finally be accepting of our scenarios, be accepting of our surroundings, and be grateful for the friends that we have on this journey, and to live the best life that we're capable given the hand that we were dealt. You clearly are capable of doing that. And I've seen that so many times as you come to me with different comments and questions. I see that you're there, you're pulling yourself out, and you've taken it upon yourself to say, if this is going to change, I am going to change it. That's where it all starts. It starts with you inside your own head saying, I can do this. Now, when it comes to natural disasters and trauma and abuse and all the amazing things or crazy things that you've had to endure in your life, the sad part of our world is much of that stuff is not going away. There's always going to be another disaster. There's always going to be some other thing that happens to us, and we have to then go and go back to ourselves and go, I can do this. I've made it through the last one, which wasn't much different than this. I'm a fighter. I'm strong. I can do this. So when you draw on the strength that you've already established, and when you look at the 5 questions that we wrote through the Wiser Me workbook, and we walk through them, one of the questions I always ask is I say, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life? And I ask you that intentionally, and I want a response. And so when you look through your email, it's up there, right? And so now you look at it and go, okay, but you're still here. You've made it through that. So now rely on that strength and know that you have that strength to move forward. So you continue going through that. And so you opened up your email with the MET, your MET goals, and so the T being the thinking goal. And that's the piece that is the most important. What we think about becomes reality, and we want to kind of move the needle in that direction and start all of our words with I can, I am, and add some sort of positivity to the end of that sentence and live your best life. It truly is an honor to walk with you. You have an amazing wingman in me. You have an amazing wingman in Lee. Your therapist, it sounds like a great guy, and I'm glad you have the opportunity to chat with him often. Continue to do that. and really just turn around and say, I can do this. I've done it before. I'm rocking it, and I'm just going to live the best life I've ever lived. So Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us live, and thank you so much for sharing your email. Janine, what'd you pick up?
Tiffany, I know that this has been a very hard journey for you in so many ways, not just weight loss, but many things that you've dealt with in your life. And I see a lot of your posts on Wise Wingman, and you inspire me. Everything you've been through, you still every day find something to be positive about. And even Cheryl said, we're here for you, Positive Princess, your little nickname that you've kind of been given through Wise Wingman. And the other thing I want to say to you is you didn't come this far only to come this far. You have so many more amazing things ahead of you. Today alone, you've inspired hundreds of people and thousands of people who will listen to this later on in the app and whatnot. Just one email has inspired so many. So today you made a difference by sharing your story for so many other people. And I know you were nervous about that email being read, nervous about sharing that side of your life with us outside of the weight loss journey you've had. But it was probably one of the most amazing things you could have done for this community today. They know you a little bit better now, and they're inspired by you. And they're going to look back at this and think, if she can make it through today, I can make it through today. I can take the next step. And, do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, you do better.
That's exactly it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, thanks for adding that. And so, I want to, this isn't about tracking so much for Tiffany. It's not about weight loss. It's not about exercise. It's about the mental victory of saying, I'm showing up every single day. And so it's so much easier to check out. And when things get hard, it's our default reaction is to run. And you're not doing that. You're here every single day to make this happen. So so that's what I want to say there. Anything else, Janine, you got?
Well, and Gwendolyn made a great point of saying what happened to us is not who we are.
Yeah.
It's something that happened. As you said, I'm glad she has someone that she can speak to about that. She has amazing wingmen. I know Leah's a strong wingman for her. She has her therapist she speaks to, plus everybody in the wingman group. But what happened to you does not have to define every day here on out.
Nope. You can totally, and again, you demonstrate from the strength of like, okay, I made it through that. So now let me pick up and say, okay, what else can I do? And Janine, what you said is so valuable is that there are people listening right now that may have a very similar scenario or something just as tragic, and they're like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can carry on. And so now what they're hearing someone that is picked up and says, hey, I can do this. And so that little bit of spark of hope and encouragement is igniting across, not to use the bad pun with fire, but it's igniting now an amazing inspiration in so many other people. And that's what really changes our lives. And so one of the greatest things you can do when you reach back to help somebody else, you're really the one that benefits. And so the more often you guys can do that, the better you will feel about your entire journey.
Yeah, there's a quote, and I'll misquote it for sure, but something about my favorite people are the people who walk through fire and come out holding buckets of water to save the rest.
Oh, I've never heard that one.
It's a great one.
Oh,
I love it. I didn't quote it exactly right, but you get the idea. It's like we've all been there. We've all been through hell in various forms for different reasons, and those who can step through it and go back and bring water to help the next group. Again, not to have the fire analogy, but I just think that's great. Everybody has their own journey, and when you can share it and help others, that's your goal.
Yep, that's the goal. And then when you get there, you just absolutely celebrate, and you celebrate every little action you took to get there. You celebrate every little thing. I want to know what it is that you're celebrating. Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com. Click on the Wise Advice podcast. Send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. We'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be absolutely proud of what you're doing. I want you to inspire others to start their journey, to continue their journey, to do everything in their power to make this journey a complete success. And we just have an absolute joy interacting with you. And that's what keeps the show going, as I said, as we opened it, is your emails to onair@fatdag.com. That's what makes this whole thing can continue to go on. So continue to write in, follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever it is, and let's be an awesome community together. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. From Jacob in the booth, Lisa and Heather from the content production team, and Janine as my co-host, we wish you good focus.